On the day I came of age, it snowed heavily. He said he wanted to call off the engagement. It took me a long time to suppress the bitterness in my heart, and my slightly reddened eyes gazed into his vast ocean of tears. Today is my coming-of-age ceremony. Can't you give me a shred of dignity? Ah, Yan, I've always seen you as a sister. We're clearing the air today so there won't be any hard feelings later, and I won't hold you back. At this moment, I knew that the pursuit of these years had come to an end. The snow was falling harder and harder. I shrank my hands, already frozen red, further into my sleeves. Since that is the case, I ask third young master to exchange back the betrothal cards. From now on, there need not be any more ties between us. The next day, Uncle and Aunt Shu brought Xu Jingwen to our door. When Father sent someone to call me, I was just planning to go find Father. I hadn't even stepped into the front hall when I heard Madame Shu's low sobbing and Father's anger. Uncle's song, a betrothal before birth is ill-advised to begin with. I was considering Sister's reputation when she was young, but now that she has come of age, she should have her own good match. I, Jingwen, have thin luck and would never dare to climb so high. Unfilial son. Oh, unfilial son, Uncle Shu has always been an expert at putting on a show. Father sat in silence for a long time, his eyes filled with grief. Scholars, farmers, artisans, merchants, a merchant family holds the lowest status in Shangjing, where all the noble families gather. I stepped into the front hall, and Madame Shu hurriedly grabbed my hand, saying with a choked voice, Yan, it is us who have wronged you. From now on, you are Jingwen's own sister, and he will surely protect you. I didn't really care, so I relented, and just said okay. Seeing her look of relief, I couldn't help but laugh. Father asked me with a cold face, Have. Just as he was leaving, I called out to stop Xu Jingwen and handed him the jewelry box he gave me yesterday. This is the coming-of-age gift sent by the third young master. I have already accepted another one, so I am returning this one to the third young master. From now on, our two families need not have any further involvement. Ah, Yan. Actually, I did have feelings for Xu Jingwen. Since I was old enough to understand things, I knew he would become my husband in the future, the person who would spend a lifetime with me. I still remember when I was 5, Mother passed away while away from home. On that birthday, I sat alone outside the manor waiting and waiting. I waited until the wind and snow filled the sky, but still didn't wait until Mother came home. It was then that 8-year-old Xu Jingwen appeared before me. He brushed my eyes, wiped away my tears, and cupped my frozen red face with both hands. He waited until I stopped crying before carrying me on his back and walking into the manor. I felt warmth for the first time on his back. I remember back then before he left, he put that hibiscus jade pendant around my neck and said, Sister Yan, from now on I will spend every birthday with you. But he broke his promise. On my birthday 10 years later, he abandoned me too after feeling stifled in the manor for quite a few days. With the new year approaching, I led Chungsing out of the gates. Miss, this looks nice. The rose-red cloak Chungsing pointed at had snowy white fox fur at the cuffs and collar, and paired with the white plum blossoms scattered across it. It looked absolutely beautiful. Brother Jingwen, this looks nice. I want it. Before my hand could even touch that cloak, a crisp Brother Jingwen disturbed my peace of mind a little. Upon seeing me, a trace of astonishment flashed across Xu Jingwen's face. Sister Yan, I hadn't intended to pay any heed, but that young lady's scrutiny was truly glaring. Greetings. Third young master. Is this that Sister Song Yan whose engagement you just broke off? That young lady's voice was neither loud nor soft, falling perfectly into the ears of everyone in the Jingshu pavilion. Amidst the shopkeeper's astonished gaze, I looked toward Xu Jingwen behind her, although he looked displeased. He did not speak up to stop her. The third young master and I have indeed broken off the engagement. Otherwise, how could the third young master be following by your side, miss? I have never been one with an easygoing nature. Fei choked by my words. That young lady's face flushed red with agitation. Sister Yan, a girl's reputation is most important. If I were to say that before today, I still harbored a shred of sincerity toward him. Then in this instant, It was gone without a trace. I didn't answer again. I borrowed the shopkeeper's curtain, and after coming back out, I handed the hibiscus jade pendant in my hand to Xu Jingwen. Third young master, the bond between our two families is over. This jade pendant is the birthday gift you gave me when I was 5. Today, I return it to you. That jade pendant lay in the palm for a long time, but Xu Jingwen never reached out to take it. The girl got anxious instead, snatched the jade pendant and smashed it onto the ground. Snap with a crisp sound of jade. That exquisitely carved hibiscus jade pendant shattered into 3 pieces. You're nothing but a merchant's daughter. You only got this engagement because your dead mother was close with Madame Xu. If it is cancelled, then so be it. Xu Jingwen was originally staring at the broken jade pendant, but upon hearing the girl's words, he couldn't help sucking in a sharp breath. Yining, stop talking. Yes, it has been 10 years. I haven't seen my mother's remains. Father said mother died at the frontier and was buried there, but the frontier is truly too far away. So I just assumed father was lying to me, and every day I look forward to mother coming home. Chungxing couldn't hold back, and neither could shopkeeper Qi. It is not for outsiders to comment on my Song family's affairs. Miss Shang, please leave. My Jingshu pavilion is not receiving guests today. The Count of Zhongyi's household sure has good breeding. Chungxing's words thoroughly enraged Shang Yining. And before I could even react, Chungxing took a solid slap across the face smack. While everyone was still in shock, my right hand had already given her a solid slap back. Shang Yining clutched her face, looking at me in total disbelief. You dare hit me? After saying that, she tried to hit me, but Xu Jingwen behind her grabbed her hand tightly. Yining, stop it. My hand hanging by my side was still trembling slightly. I had used all my strength in that slap, and Shang Yining's face was visibly turning red and swollen. Xu Jingwen, are you just going to watch her bully me? Shang Yining's voice was already choking up a bit, and Xu Jingwen looked at my slightly reddened eyes and said, sorry. With that, she pulled Shang Yining out of Jingshu Pavilion. Shopkeeper Qi cleared the room, and I sat at the tea table for a long while to calm down before smiling and saying to Chungxing Fei, look, I've caused trouble. Fei Chungxing's eyes reddened instantly, and she reached out to rub my right hand. Famous. You didn't have to stand up for me. Fei shopkeeper Qi took that cloak and draped it over me. Famous. Let's go back to the manor. Fei, when I looked up, my eyes were already red and tears were about to fall. Aunt Qi pulled me into her arms. It is okay. The young miss of our Song family was bullied in her own shop. It is only right to fight back. At worst, we just won't open this Jingshu pavilion anymore. I didn't say another word, but large teardrops had already soaked through Aunt Qi's clothes. It is about to snow outside. Let's hurry back to the manor. The carriage creaked as it passed through the streets inside the carriage. Chungxing adjusted the cloak and said, Fathered young Master Xu still protected you, miss, and didn't let you suffer any more grievances. Fei Fei he wasn't protecting me. It was Shang Yining who started the trouble with her mouth. If she had struck back, the Shang family's eldest miss's reputation for being a shrew would have spread to every corner of Shangjing within half a day. With that said, I reached out of habit to touch the jade pendant on my neck. But it wasn't until I felt nothing there that I remembered that jade had already shattered at Jingshu Pavilion, shattered in this winter. In just 2 days, Jingshu Pavilion was thoroughly investigated by the Ministry of Revenue. On the day the seals were put up, Aunt Qi came over. In the front hall, Aunt Qi drank the Longjing tea sent from Suhang in the spring, and let out a long sigh of relief. Fei can finally get a proper rest. I've slaved away for your Song family all these years, never having a single day of leisure. I put down the tea and snacks in my hand and knelt down before Father Fei. It is all my fault. I've been willful and reckless, causing Father to worry. Fei Father was startled and hurriedly helped me up. Song Yan, you really are my daughter. That Xu family is social climbing and looks down on our Song family. Even without that incident at Jingsu Pavilion, I would have tripped them up. Fei Master, I really shouldn't say this, but the one miss hit is the legitimate third miss of the Earl of Zhongyi's manor. I'm afraid this score won't be easy to settle. At worst, it is just losing the family fortune. Then I'll accompany my daughter to the frontier and take her to see that heartless mother of hers. Over the next few days, father came back later and later. On the day of the festival, he still hadn't returned home even after it was pitch dark. The servant boys sent out one after another all failed to find a single shred of news. Just as I was in a panic, Xu Jingwen came to the door with Madame Xu Feiyan. Your father has been thrown in jail. Fei, I was shocked to hear that. Fei, you don't need to worry. Jingwen has already mediated a bit. It is just that Yining is petty. Only if you leave Shangjing will she calm down. Fei, my voice is already trembling. Why? I was born in Shangjing and grew up in Shangjing. In 15 years, I have never stepped outside the city gates. Hey, Sister Yan, your family's shops have all met with disaster. You acted on impulse, you vented your anger. But Yining couldn't vent hers. Fei, you leaving Shangjing counts as giving Yining a way out. Your Uncle Xu and Jingwen will talk things over with the house of Count Zhongyi to release your father, and they can even leave a few shops for your family. So, your father can live a good life. With the mother and son speaking one after another, I finally figured out the meaning behind their visit. Fei hand if I refuse. Fei, Madame Xu's expression changed instantly. Fei, your family is a merchant family. Even if you have a substantial fortune, how can you compare to a hereditary earldom of 100 years? Does your father not want his life anymore? Is Sister Yan, don't be afraid. Wait for Yining to cool off if you want to come back. I'll pick you up. His words made me want to laugh. Taking me back to be your mistress. After I snapped at him, Xu Jingwen's face turned pale. Fine, Song Yan. I wanted to give you a hand for your mother's sake. But you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Fei, seeing that the ex-Yu mother and son intended to leave, I finally relented. Fei, I can leave Shangjing. But I have to wait until my father returns home safely. And you must guarantee my father's safety after I leave. Hearing my words, a smile returned to Mrs. Xu's face, and she held my hand saying, Fei, good. I knew you were the most sensible. Ah, Yan. After the Xu mother and son left, the New Year's snow drifted down sparsely, and Chungxing was already standing beside me, sobbing uncontrollably. Famous. Fei held her hand in return, gazing at the snowflakes dancing in the sky, and said, Fei, I knew things wouldn't end well when I hit her that day. But how could I have imagined it would cause father to suffer? Today was supposed to be a day for family reunion. Shang Yuning wouldn't dare make a move on me in Shangjing. But once I leave Shangjing, any random bandit could take my life. And when that news travels back to Shangjing, it won't have the slightest thing to do with her. Shang Yuning, on the first day of the new year, the weather was exceptionally cold. By the time father was supported back to the manor, I had already packed my bags. Father stood at the manor gate watching Chungxing load the luggage onto the carriage piece by piece, remaining silent for a long time. I stood at the bottom of the steps, gazing at father's frail figure, my heart aching with bitterness. In the 10 years since mother left, only father and I depended on each other in this huge manor. In his darkest moments, father had even thought about leaving to follow in mother's footsteps. But for my sake, he endured it time and again. For the first 2 years after mother left, I often had nightmares at night. When the nannies in the manor couldn't soothe me, they would always carry me. Later, as the nightmares became more frequent, whenever I woke up from one, father was always by my bed, gently patting me and coaxing me. Fei Yan, come home with father. Fei father. I'm going to the frontier to find mother and bring her back. Fei Yan. Come home with father. Father repeated those words, his voice full of worry. I didn't reply, but knelt straight down before him. I kowtowed 3 times with true sincerity. The freshly melted snow water was biting cold, soaking through my calves and spreading to my heart, finally turning into tears that burst from my eyes. This parting, perhaps I would never return. A Yan has been willful and reckless, offending the powerful. It is a Yan's fault. Fei, it is father who is useless. Fei, his choking voice made my heart ache even more. Fei father, wait for me to bring mother home. Fei, I gathered my cloak tighter around me, stepped onto the carriage and dared not look back. Only after the carriage passed through the mansion gates with a creaking and groaning sound did I turn my head for a glance. A cold wind chilling. The carriage left the city gates, and the Xu mother and son watched the receding carriage, revealing a rare look of reluctance. Fei Yutao only has this one daughter. What a pity. Fei watching the carriage go. Xu Jingwen spoke up. Fei have sent men to escort her to the frontier. Whether she can make it there depends on her own luck. Fei he did indeed feel reluctant. After being together for so many years, how could there not be a shred of affection? If anyone was to be blamed, it was just that her family background offered absolutely no help to him. The carriage had only gone 10 or so miles out of the city when Shang Yining couldn't hold back anymore. The sound of swords clashing and fighting rang out all around. Inside the carriage, I squeezed Chengxing's hand. Fei silly girl, I told you not to follow. You see, I won't live past today. Fei miss, I understand everything. I grew up with you, miss. Wherever you go, I go. Fei Chengxing was young after all. Even though she knew the outcome yesterday, she still trembled with fear. Fei, you must hold my hand tight. In the next life, let's be real sisters. Fei outside the carriage, the sounds of fighting gradually died down. The time for the end had come. When the curtain was lifted, I was holding the trembling Chengxing. In the instant that the sword slashed down, I fiercely plunged the dagger I had long hidden in my sleeve into the heart of the person before me. Warm blood splattered all over my face. Right now, I can't be afraid. I only have that one thought in my mind. I want to live. I want to stay alive. I picked up the knife and dragged Chengxing as we quickly got off the carriage. Corpses lay scattered outside the carriage. Aside from the guards I had hired, there were a few more bodies dressed in black. The person clearing the corpses looked stunned when he saw me dragging Chengxing off the carriage, and he quickly stepped over to lift the carriage curtain. Fei fuck. She killed Lao San. With a furious shout, the surrounding bandits gathered. I dragged Chengxing and ran for my life, but the disparity in strength was just too great. We were caught within 100 meters. I brandished the knife, waving it around, while Chengxing hid behind me, trembling violently. Fei didn't expect Lao San to fall at the hands of a little girl like you. These men forced me back step by step, and my hand holding the knife was trembling uncontrollably. Fei Heros, how much is the buyer paying you? I'll give you double. No, triple. Fei hey. You killed my brother today. You are definitely going to die. Fei Heros, spare my life. I can give you everything I own. I just want a chance to live. Watching their unceasing steps, I despaired. Seeing the blades right in front of my face, I accepted my fate and closed my eyes. Fei whoosh. Fei, the sound of something cutting through the wind rang out. I felt warmth on my face again. After not feeling pain for a long time, I quietly opened my eyes. That gang of vicious thugs had already turned into cold corpses one by one. I stared blankly at everything, and touched the blood all over my face. Did I survive? Chengxing had long since fainted from fright. Only then did I realize there were two men on horseback a few meters behind me. The leader was dressed in a moon-white winter robe, his thick brows and black eyes even more dazzling than the immortals in the sky. And he was holding a bow in his hand. It was only at this moment that the reality of being alive hit me. I breathed a huge sigh of relief, collapsed to the ground, and burst into tears. I survived. I really survived. I crawled over and hugged Chengxing, shaking her a few times before she slowly came to. Chengxing, we survived. We survived. Chengxing seemed like she didn't dare believe it. She hugged me back, and only started wailing once she felt my heartbeat. Chengxing and I took a long while to calm down. Only then did we remember our saviors, so we hurriedly got up to bow to the two of them. Thank you both for saving me, young masters. With my head buried, I didn't hear anyone come back for a long time. Before I could look up to check, the sound of hooves gradually drew near, and a white handkerchief appeared before my eyes. Wipe it, Fei. Many thanks, hero. Fei, you sure have guts for a girl traveling with just a maid. The pure white handkerchief was already stained with blood, and I really felt too embarrassed to give it back. While I was still looking down, pondering what to use as compensation, that young gentleman in the moon-white robe spoke up. Fei say, is there some urgent business that requires leaving the city on the first day of the new year? Fei as. I am going to welcome my mother home. Fei Fei, where is your mother? Fei Fei, the frontier. At the frontier, Fei Fei, you know. How far the frontier is from the capital? You two little girls? The young gentleman beside the moon-white robe sucked in a breath. His eyes filled with disbelief. Fei, I know. If we set out now, we can probably reach the frontier by the time June arrives. Picking up mother and returning, we should be able to make it back for the next New Year festival. Fei saying that, I gave a bitter laugh. Fei, you see, originally it wasn't just us two little girls. There were the family servants we brought, the hired guards. They all died. Fei, at this moment, the two of them seemed to remember something, and the young gentleman in black muttered softly. Fei, the first day of the new year. How could there be mountain bandits already? Fei, I had a smile on my face. Fei, we knows. Maybe they were short on money? Fei Fei, you're not afraid? Fei Zhaozian was a bit surprised. The little girl before him looked soft and sweet. Yet she actually had such guts. Fei was scared. If not for you two young masters today. US two sisters would have met our end today. The little girl's eyes were sparkling. Zhaozian was stunned for a good while. Pointed at the carriage and said, Fei, get on the carriage. It just so happens we are also going to the frontier. So just consider it traveling together. BBNC looked at his master with a face full of disbelief. They had received orders to go to Jiangnan. Hearing Zhaozian say this, Songyan was overjoyed. Thank you, young master. May I ask your name? I should be a few years older than you. My surname is Zhao. Courtesy name Xian. You can call me elder brother, and you? Songyan. Thank you, brother Xian. C became the coachman, driving the horse up front and muttering under his breath. Fei master, you have received orders. How can you go to the frontier? Zhaozian didn't pay him any mind, riding his horse to follow the swaying carriage as it went further and further away. Fortunately, having got past the outskirts, I breathed a secret sigh of relief. When the first night fell, we stayed at an inn 30 li away. Famous. Should we send a letter to the master to tell him you're safe? Fei Fei, no need. News of me has likely already reached Shangjing. No need to make him sad. Fei Chengxing paused for a moment and sighed. Fei, we've only just left Shangjing, and the frontier is so far away. How are we going to manage on this journey? Fei Fei, leave it to fate. It was all thanks to brother Xian today. I must repay him properly. Fei. Miss had a fright today. Have a good rest. BNC was right on the roof, listening to the conversation between the master and servant. The wariness in his heart lessened a bit. Those two girls are indeed going to the frontier, but the dangers of the journey seem to be within her expectations. Zhaozian listened to BNC's report and understood clearly. Just watch. BNC nodded and disappeared into the night. The night was deep, and snow drifted down silently. For a martial artist, the sound of rushing through the dark was too piercing. Zhaozian threw on his outer robe and got up. The sounds of fighting stopped in an instant, and BNC knocked gently on the door. Fei've been taken care of. 3 of them. They weren't coming for you, master. Fei Zhaozian was somewhat surprised. Fei, they seem to have come for that young lady. Fei, interesting. Is she awake? Fei, there is no movement inside the room. She should still be sound asleep. Fei stood. Fei Zhaozian couldn't figure it out. That little girl was only 15 or 16 years old and had only brought a single maid servant. How could she attract assassins? I knew nothing of any of this. The next day brought clear weather. It wasn't until I had packed up and gone out that I realized it had snowed during the night. The ground was already covered in a coat of white, hiding every last trace. How did you sleep last night? Zhaozian was wearing a pure white robe and a black cloak as he walked slowly down the stairs. Fei had a dreamless and peaceful sleep. How about you, brother? Fei mem. About the same. Fei have some breakfast to warm yourself up, brother. Fei Zhaozian had just taken his seat when he asked, Famous Song, are you in a hurry? Fei was a bit stunned by his words. Fei, I'm asking if you're in a hurry. To get to the frontier. Fei, only then did I understand what he meant. Fei, not particularly. Fei, I have important business and need to make a detour to Jiangnan. If you are in a hurry, you can go on ahead. Hearing this, I thought, This is a disaster. Brother Xian's martial arts are no joke, and Shang Yining definitely won't let me off easily. Could I really survive traveling alone? No rush, no rush. I haven't left Shangjing since I was little, so I can take this opportunity to broaden my horizons. No rush, Brother Xian. If you have things to do, please go ahead. I'll just follow behind and won't disturb you, brother. Perhaps I was being too obvious, as Zhao Xian gave a soft chuckle. My face flushed red instantly, and I lowered my head to focus on my meal. I've accepted a mission and need to go to Zhongyan to buy some things. It'll take a little while, so the time for you to bring your mother home might be pushed back a bit. Is that okay? If it is fine. It is not that urgent, Feifeok. By the way, Brother Xian, which government office are you from? No, I'm just an idler following orders, earning a little extra cash. I see. I lowered my head and thought for a moment. Since he needs to earn extra cash, presumably he isn't particularly rich, so I can start with money, and it won't count as owing a favor for nothing. Zhao Xian saw the girl pull out a pink pouch embroidered with white petals from her clothes and hand it to him. In that case, I can't just let Brother Xian escort me part of the way for nothing. I'll cover the travel expenses, and this part is extra payment for Brother Xian. Thank you, Brother Xian. BNCA stared wide-eyed from the side. Zhao Xian gave a soft chuckle and put away the pouch. And thank you very much, Miss Song. I inwardly breathed a sigh of relief. Good thing I wasn't too abrupt. By the time the carriage rocked its way to Jiangnan, it was already spring. After spending these past few months together, my relationship with Zhao Xian had become much closer. Jiangnan was in the middle of the rainy season, and the weeping willows by the lake had sprouted many new leaves. The carriage was sent to the relay station for repairs, so the four of us held our umbrellas and strolled slowly along the street. No wonder those poems often sing the praises of Jiangnan's spring rain. Seeing it now, it really is a world of difference from Shangjing. This isn't Jiangnan's most beautiful season yet. When the lotuses are in full bloom, that lake is like a fairyland. I looked up at him, and he happened to be looking down at me. Does brother come often? My own elder brother is especially fond of Jiangnan. I've accompanied him here these past few years. Eh? Then does brother know what delicacies are here? You have a sweet tooth. There is a shop at the end of South Street. Their lotus root balls are a specialty. Tiny balls filled with red bean paste, crystal clear in a few days. Once I'm done with my business, I'll take you there for a stroll. Thank you, brother. The rain was letting up, and the March air in Jiangnan still carried a hint of chill. I pulled my clothes tighter, took the cloak Chungxing handed me, and said to Zhao Xian, let's go back. We won't be going to the relay station today. I came to Jiangnan on official business and have prepared a residence. After saying that, he led me around a corner, and within a few steps, we arrived at the entrance of a residence. Several well-dressed people stood at the entrance of the four-courtyard residence. Seeing us, they hurriedly came over to welcome us. The leader was just about to speak and salute when Zhao Xian stopped him. BNC quickly stepped forward to lead everyone towards the residence. Perhaps noticing my confusion, Zhao Xian lowered his head slightly and whispered in my ear. The person who gave me this job is of noble status, so they treated me with a bit more respect as well. I see. After settling down, Zhao Xian started getting busy, often not seen for 2 or 3 days. Beyond CE, on the other hand, came by every day. The days passed steadily, and early summer arrived silently, just like that. Whenever summer comes, I get greedy for cold things. In previous years at home, father kept me in check, so nothing bad ever happened. This year was different. Chungxing couldn't manage me and let me eat too much of it. The day my period came, I was in so much pain I nearly passed out. Chungxing was scared out of her wits. By the time I groggily came to, I looked right into Zhao Xian's cold face. Seeing me wake up, the coldness on Zhao Xian's face faded a little, but there was still a hint of anger when he spoke. You really are too easy on yourself. I was startled. I hadn't seen Zhao Xian angry in the past few months, so I hurriedly explained, I'm not usually like this. Rest up well. With that, she turned to go out, instructing Chungsing before she left. Watch over your miss. If she gets greedy for the cold again, come find me. After saying that, he left without looking back. I looked at Chungsing in confusion. Fei, what happened? Chungsing stepped forward to tidy up my thin quilt and spoke with a bit of helplessness. Feiyang Master Zhao happened to come by when you fainted. Your pale face gave him a big fright. He carried you back to the room, and you even soiled his robes. Fei, hearing this, my face turned bright red. I buried my head in the quilt and gave a loud shout. Embarrassing. It was truly too embarrassing, Fei miss. You really shouldn't be greedy for the cold anymore. Even without you saying it. I won't be greedy for the cold anymore. Fei, who could afford to lose face like this again after this little interlude. I avoided walking near Zhao Zian for several days. Fortunately, Zhao Zian was getting busier and busier, so he didn't have time to pay attention to me, either having stayed in the courtyard too long. I took Chungsing to South Street. I hadn't brought many summer skirts and blouses, and I didn't really like the ones Zhao Zian had people send over, so I wanted to get a few sets of clothes made before leaving Jiangnan. In the silk shop, I picked out several pieces of fabric, but I ran into trouble when choosing the patterns. Famous. This pattern looks the best when embroidered on that jade green fine silk. The shopkeeper recommended a white Luoya flower pattern, but I shook my head. Fei-flying silk. Fabric is silky smooth. White won't show up well when embroidered on it. The pattern looks jarring. Jade green satin is picky with color combinations. It doesn't match. Then take a look at this pattern. The shopkeeper held up a pinkish-white hibiscus pattern. Bevan, less suitable. Fei. The shopkeeper was out of ideas too, letting me pick from the hundreds of patterns in the shop myself. But needless to say, I didn't fancy a single piece. Do you have any spare fabric? Give me some needle and thread. I'll make a pattern. The shopkeeper had probably never seen a customer as picky as me. After giving me the fabric, he ignored me and turned away to get busy. So Chungsing and I sat to the side making the pattern. Once a quarter of an hour passed, I handed the pattern to the shopkeeper with great satisfaction. The shopkeeper held the pattern, stunned for a long time, and called the embroiderer from the backyard. Famous. I've truly never seen this pattern before. Could you tell us a bit about it? That embroiderer came over holding the pattern, and the surrounding embroiderers also gathered around. Fei's white as the base. Once the base color is out, add a strand of pink thread to embroider the stamen. Afterward, take 3 strands of white and 1 of pink, mix in a strand of gold in the middle, and embroider from the petal edge towards the center. When approaching the stamen, pull out the gold thread to fan out. Use light green for the leaves, outlining with silver thread. Fuying silk excels in its water ripple drape when walking. The skirt hem requires extra effort on heavy borders to prevent clinging to the body. The gold thread serves to highlight, shimmering faintly during movement, while the silver thread acts as a divider so the leaves don't blend into the fabric itself. If it were white fuying silk, gold thread would be needed for separation. They bring it here and let me have a look. Fei, someone spoke up from outside the crowd. It was Zhao Zian, whom I hadn't seen for many days. At this moment, beside him, apart from Beyond CE, stood 2 middle-aged men. He picked up that patterned piece, examined it for a long while, and said, I didn't expect you to have such embroidery skills. Brother, how is it? Feeling better? Hearing this, my face flushed slightly. Yes, much better. This is double-sided stitch embroidery. Are you a member of the Song family, miss? One of them turned the pattern I embroidered over and over to look at it, his tone rare in its excitement as he spoke. Before I could answer, that person spoke again. It is. The eldest miss looks exactly like the proprietor. That middle-aged man's eyes were already slightly red. Hearing this, I was slightly startled. I knew my family had businesses in Jiangyan, but father had never been to Jiangyan to inspect the shops, so I had always thought the Jiangyan business was just a tiny silk shop and never paid it any mind. Are you Uncle Shu? The shopkeeper of the Jiangyan silk shop was surnamed Shu. He was an older brother from the neighborhood who grew up with my mother. Yes, the eldest miss has grown up. You've turned out just like the proprietor. Even your embroidery skills are so similar. Mother only taught me the basics in the past. Young ladies in the capital don't easily go out. When I missed Mother, I read through all the books she left behind, and later slowly learned to embroider a bit. Over time, I picked up the basics, though naturally, I cannot compare to Mother. Since this is our own shop now, it doesn't count as passing secrets to outsiders. Before I leave, I'll compile the essentials of the picking embroidery so the embroiderers can copy them. Fei received a message from your father a few days ago. The letter said you'd already set off for the frontier and hoped the Song family would look after you along the way. I never expected you to take a detour to Jiangnan. Fei's, we met with some unexpected trouble on the way, thanks to Brother coming to the rescue. Once Brother finishes his business, he must set off for the frontier to fetch Mother. If Brother takes a fancy to any fabric, Uncle Shu, please give him a good deal. Fei shopkeeper Shu's eyes looked back and forth between Zhao Ziyan and me, sizing us up. Fei, of course. Fei embroider a finished garment according to the pattern Xiaoyan gave. I'll return in 10 days. If it works out, we'll settle it then. After saying this, Zhao Ziyan called out to me, "Let's go. I'll take you to South Street to have the lotus root starch balls at that shop. Uncle Shu, please reply to Father for me. Just tell him I went to Jiangnan to have some fun, and that everything is fine. Tell him to take care of himself and wait for me to come home." Okay. Seeing Zhao Ziyan lead Songyan out the door, the other man opened his mouth and said to shopkeeper, "Shu, your master has good fortune coming. Isn't this just a double blessing?" Natural shopkeeper Shu watched their receding figures. Songyan looked just like her mother. Same face, same figure. If you didn't look closely, you would think the owner had returned. The early summer weather was honestly getting hot. I waved my round fan and walked toward South Street with Zhao Ziyan. "Does your family run a fabric shop?" "Yes, all the silk shops under the name of Jingshu Pavilion in Shangjing are my family's business. I knew before that we had business in Jiangnan, but Father never took it to heart, and I didn't really know it was actually the #1 silk shop in Jiangnan. I am truly ashamed." Zhao Ziyan chuckles softly. "I didn't expect your family to be wealthy merchants. Brother, don't tease me. Fei, in 10 days, if the clothes delivered by your family's cloth shop meet the standard, my business will be basically wrapped up, and we can set off for the frontier." Okay. After returning to the manor, I gave the key points I'd compiled to Beyoncé to take to the silk shop. In less than 7 days, Zhao Ziyan sent over a finished garment made of fuying silk. It was the jade green color I'd chosen back then. "The finished garments have been delivered. They made an extra one for me to bring to you. Take a look. Is it to your liking?" Uncle Shu followed my ideas and added many lotus leaf ruffles to the skirt hem, giving the whole skirt an even heavier drape. The only flaw of the fuying silk was covered up, and I was extremely satisfied. That is good then. My task is done too. Let's set off for the frontier tomorrow and bring your mother back as soon as possible. The day we arrived at Huangsha town on the frontier, the weather had already turned cool, with yellow dust filling the sky. Looking at those 3 characters, Huangsha town, my heart was filled with mixed feelings. This is the place where Mother's bones are buried. Father said Mother was buried in the west, along with the commoners who died with her. So I settled down at the post station in the west. I didn't leave the post station for a few days after arriving, and Beyoncé asked Chungsing about it several times on the side. "Fei, you have something on your mind lately." Fei, brother, what makes you say that?" "Fei, you were in such a rush to get your mother all the way here. But now that we're at the frontier, you're not in a rush anymore." "Yeah, not in a rush anymore. Fei, tomorrow then. I'll go see her tomorrow." Fei Zhao Ziyan felt a bit suspicious in his heart. From the moment they met, she always said she was going to pick up her mother. But, having truly arrived at the frontier, he didn't see her acting anxious. I sat blankly in the room all night, thinking over and over about my mother who was already a blur in my memory. And just as the morning star was about to set at dawn, I made a decision. But the bandits arrived suddenly. The sounds of fighting and killing on the long street suddenly reached their ears. The crowd at the relay station was in endless turmoil, crying and screaming everywhere. Seeing the station doors shut tight, the bandits tried to force their way in, but Zhao Ziyan and Beyoncé stood guard at the entrance. Swords in hand, they killed everyone that entered. There was no shortage of able-bodied young men in the relay station. Seeing this, they were no longer afraid and stepped forward to help one after another. After peace returned to the post station, Zhao Zian carried his sword out of the station, instructing beloved.I to stand guard beside me and Chongqing. Perhaps noticing our uneasiness, beloved.I stayed by our side to comfort us. Faith, the frontier is on the border, so mountain bandits must be a common occurrence. Fei, the manager tidying up the station, stopped what he was doing when he heard this. You're right, young Master Sai. There was an incident like this 11 years ago too. It was only suppressed after the military guards arrived. Although mountain bandits have occasionally entered the town these past 11 years, never has there been a scene like today where they kill on sight. 11 years ago? On that winter night. Something like this happened too. That day was much worse than today. There were corpses everywhere. If not for her ladyship, I reckon this small town would have long been a pile of dry bones. Fei Niang. Which Niang? Faith, this lady was an ordinary woman. Since we didn't know her name, we called her the goddess. To us, she was a fairy goddess from the heavens. Fei Tat Year. What happened here? Does it have anything to do with my mother's death? The shopkeeper sighed and said, bandits came down the mountain on a winter night, burning, killing, and looting, killed anyone they saw. Not even sparing the children, leaving corpses all over the ground. It is said that her ladyship was originally a merchant from out of town, claiming she came to the frontier to find some silk threads only found here. When the bandit raid broke out, the farmhouse she was staying at was closest to the school. She led the surrounding children and commoners to defend the school, set off a signal flare to attract the stationed military guards, and saved everyone. Fei, but we couldn't save her. I was in the crowd back then. The Lai family's kid was frail to begin with, and was a step too slow to dodge. The bandit's blade was just about to run the child through. The guard was a step too late. By the time he shot the bandit down, she had already taken the blade for that child. It hit a vital spot. She only closed her eyes when she saw the guard arrive. She saved over 100 of us folks. Later, we built a goddess temple for her, making offerings to her, hoping she'd reincarnate soon, and become an immortal soon. Chongqing gripped my hand so tight. It hurt so much that my tears wouldn't stop falling, while beloved.I sighed beside us. Sigh, one person died but saved a good 100 or so lives. It counts as a worthy death. The sun finally climbed up the branches. The bandits withdrew from the town, and the people on the streets were cleaning up the mess. Zhao Zian was treated as the hero who saved them, getting quite a few things stuffed into his hands along the way. I also changed into white clothes, holding a box, and led Chongqing step by step towards that Niang temple. I ran into Zhao Zian on the way, and he asked me with concern, Fein, aren't you supposed to pick up your mother today? You should go check if she is still safe and sound. Fei's going to pick up my mother. There were many people at the entrance of the Niang temple. A young man was at the temple door sweeping up the mess on the ground, and commoners holding incense were kneeling at the door, chanting thanks to Niang's blessing. We escaped another calamity. I stood to the side watching the common folk pray with all their hearts, and suddenly, I wanted to laugh. Yeah, thank her for saving you from another disaster. The woman carved on the statue gradually overlapped with the one in my memories. It turns out she really did die at the frontier. I grabbed the man guarding the temple, pointed at that statue, and asked Fei where are her remains. Fei, huh? Fei have her remains been collected. Where is she buried? Fei buried in the backyard. Fei, I led Chongqing and walked quickly to the backyard. Fei, you can't go to the backyard. The young man wanted to stop me, but my pace was just too fast, so he shouted loudly. Many commoners heard him and followed behind him, trying to stop me. The solitary grave in the backyard only had a wooden tablet standing there, with a few characters carved on it, Tomb of the Lady. Beside the solitary grave was a pear tree, its leaves already withered and yellow. Seeing such a scene, my eyes grew hot, and for the first time, I felt the reality of losing my mother. I squatted in front of the wooden tablet, my hand brushing over the words Tomb of the Lady, gazing at this solitary grave. as if I wanted to tell her all the grievances of the last 10+ years. Fei father heard you died at the frontier, so he came to find you. He didn't bring back your remains, so I assumed he lied to me. That is why on my 5th birthday that year, I sat at the manor gate waiting for you. I waited and waited until the wind and snow filled the sky, but I never saw you come back. The surrounding commoners went quiet in an instant, and even Zhao Zian and Beyoncé were looking at me with surprise in their eyes. Since then, I have often suffered from nightmares. In my dreams, I watch you abandon me over and over, unwanted, leaving me far behind. No matter how I call out to you, you never turn back to look at me. When I woke up, Auntie Lin, who grew up with you, would always hold me and comfort me. But Auntie Lin also fell ill and never recovered the following year because of your death. She let go and passed away. Have you seen her down below? Is she doing well too? A gentle breeze rose, lifting the hem of my skirt. I wiped the tears from the corners of my eyes, and continued speaking. Faith. A year. I was 7. A few children surrounded me in the alley corner, mocking me for being uncouth and having no mother to raise me. I retorted that I did have a mother, but ended up getting hit in the head with stones, leaving a huge bump. After that, I rarely went out. When I missed you, I would read the books you left and learn the embroidery techniques you recorded, often embroidering for the entire day. Back then, I thought that if you ever returned, you would surely praise me for being hardworking and motivated, and for not shaming your name as the best embroiderer in the world. Feifei father never remarried. He manages the business you left behind, and now he is a wealthy merchant, the richest in the region. Avi, by the way, I gave a bitter laugh. Fei, that girl from the Earl's residence, said you were dead, so I hit her. She forced me to leave Shangjing and wanted to send people to kill me. Saved by elder brother, I narrowly escaped death. Every step was a struggle. Finally, I reached the frontier, but I didn't dare come to see you. I kept thinking father lied to me. I kept wondering if you had other children at the frontier who were better behaved than me, more obedient than me, and that is why you wouldn't come back to see me. Feifei, the statue in the Niangyang temple looks just like you, so I believed it too, believed that you died at the frontier, not that you abandoned me. Fei mother, Yan will be 16 in a few days. Take a look. Have I grown up to look the same as you imagined? Fei mother, a Yan has come to take you home. Fei, a light breeze brushed my face, seeming like mother's hand gently patting my back. I tied the white cloth hidden in my sleeve around my forehead, and was about to kneel before the lone grave, when Zhao Zian stepped forward and knelt down with me. I didn't stop him. After 3 bows, I spoke to the people behind me. Fei, I'd like to ask for everyone's help. I want to collect my mother's remains and take her home. Fei, the commoners scrambled to dig up the grave, and I gathered the bones piece by piece into the box. On the box were her favorite peach blossoms, which I carved myself. I cradled the box and walked back to the post station step by step. Zhao Zian followed silently by my side, while the commoners stood at the door watching us fade into the distance. I placed mother beside me and had a good sleep in the bedroom. Chengxing guarded me at the door. Zhao Zian sat in the hall for a long time without uttering a word. The post station closed its doors, and the innkeeper pondered for a long while before placing a money bag on the table. Fei, her ladyship has shown us immense kindness. We cannot accept this money. Beyoncé stared at that money bag, lost in thought for a long time, and only spoke after a good while. Fei always thought she was anxious to pick up her mother, because her mother was ill and couldn't return to Shangjing alone. Who would have expected it was like this? Fei, when I woke up again, it was already the next morning. After I tidied up and stepped out of the room, Zhao Zian was already waiting for me in the hall. Fei, good morning. Brother Fei, there was a bowl of noodles on the table, and Zhao Zian pushed the noodles towards me. Fei, hurry and taste it. Fei, the noodles were undercooked and salty. Yet it was Zhao Zian's heartfelt gesture. I really couldn't swallow it, so I forced myself to gulp down a mouthful whole, and only spoke after washing it down with a cup of tea. Fei, delicious. Fei tat is good. The day after tomorrow is your birthday. We have to hurry on our journey today, so we can't celebrate your birthday on the way. Let's treat today as an early celebration. From now on, I'll make you a bowl of longevity noodles for all your birthdays. Fei, his words were full of probing. I understood it all, and I had also grown fond of him. That really won't be necessary. Fei birthdays. They ought to be happy. Eating a bowl of this stuff would make one feel miserable for the whole day. Faith, the frontier isn't like the capital. I searched for this pearl flower for a long time. Take it as a makeshift birthday gift for today. When we return to the capital, I'll get you an even prettier one. Fei, touching the pearl flower Zhao Ziyan had placed in my hair, and gazing into his twinkling eyes. My heart was filled with joy. Fei, thank you, brother. Fei, today really wasn't good weather. The gloomy, cold day had whipped up a wind. As I pushed open the relay station door, I pulled my robe tighter. Standing at the entrance were quite a few commoners, all holding up tokens of gratitude in their hands. Fei, thank you, benefactor. Thank you, your highness. Fei, mother hears you. There is no need for gifts. Your living well is her greatest wish. Fei, no, miss. The frontier is poor, so we couldn't prepare anything fine. We just prepared some daily items. This is the 5th birthday gift prepared for you on behalf of your mother. Fei, this is for your 6th. Fei, this is for your 7th. Fei, this is for today. Happy 16th birthday, miss. May you meet a good man. May your future be smooth. And may you have 100 years of peace. Fei, looking at those birthday gifts one by one. My eyes reddened again. I handed the box to Chungsing, bowed to the commoners, and accepted those birthday gifts one by one. In the crowd, only that man who guards the temple was kneeling, holding up this year's birthday gift and crying uncontrollably. I wanted to help him up, but he refused to rise. Fei, her highness died to save me. I am so sorry. I caused you to lose your mother. Fei is all right. You don't need to guard her anymore. Hone your skills and guard the peace of this region. That is what she would want to see. Fei, the moment I boarded the carriage, I looked back at them and said, don't call her Her Highness anymore. She is Song Yu Tao. You ought to know her surname, and you ought to know her name. We welcomed the new year while on our journey famous. Look quickly. Chungsing held a big chicken leg in her left hand, her right hand pointing at that slowly rising wishing lantern, gazing at her eyes, dazzling like a sea of stars. A smile unconsciously appeared on my face gazing at that wishing lantern, which had already risen to mid-air. I couldn't help but sigh. Time flies so fast, it is another new year. The year ends tonight, a wanderer 10,000 miles from home. It is another new year, and I wonder if father is doing well in Shangjing. Uncle is doing well. Someone is looking after him in Shangjing. So just set your mind at ease. I was a bit surprised and looked up at him. His eyes were lifting slightly, along with that ascending wishing lantern. I naturally understood, and gave a knowing smile. Thank you, brother. Xiaoyan. I lost my mother when I was young, and father passed away a few years ago. Now my eldest brother is the head of the family. After we return to Shangjing, I'll ask him to propose marriage on my behalf. Would you be willing? Zhao Ziyan lowered his head and gazed into the girl's smiling eyes. Parents' orders, matchmakers' words. Brother, you must work hard. The person beside me answered with a low chuckle. All right, naturally I have to work a bit harder. It was June, and we finally arrived in Shangjing. Chungsing helped me off the carriage, and when the gatekeeper saw me, he ran into the manor shouting, Master, master, the eldest miss is back. She is back. Zhao Ziyan was about to leave. Looking at me, he said gently. Xiaoyan, wait for me. I'll go report back first. Wait for me to come propose. You go ahead. I'll wait for you. Watching his figure riding away, after a year and a half of companionship, now that we part, I don't know when we will meet again. Father hurried all the way out of the mansion gate, looking at me with red eyes. I held the box of mother's bones, smiling as I looked back at him. Father, I brought mother back. My family hung white silk, and held a funeral that was 11 years late. So many guests coming and going at home, I only then found out that Jingshu Pavilion had reopened for business. The imperial family sent someone personally to offer condolences, granting supreme honor. Only then did I learn father had become an imperial merchant. No longer a merchant of the lowest rank. Father said quite proudly. Somehow, the imperial nobles took a fancy to our fabric, and the eunuchs from the palace sought us out directly to supply fabric. Son, we are imperial merchants now. No one can look down on us. I teased with a smile. It seems, father, this imperial merchant is quite highly regarded by the imperial household department. The royal family sending condolences is a supreme honor. It looks like father must have made a killing. Fate is one thing if internal affairs sent someone, but the visitor is acting on orders from the inner palace. Feifei, then perhaps it is that the noble ladies in the inner palace are especially fond of your fabrics. Feifei tat is for sure. Our fabric is some of the best in Shangjing. Such interesting conversation came to an abrupt halt the moment we saw the Shu family. Shu led Shu Jingwen and Sheng Yining through the door. Sheng Yining was already wearing her hair in a matron's bun, suggesting she was already married. Beside her, Shu Jingwen gazed into my eyes with emotions I couldn't read, like a reunion after a long separation, or regaining something lost. It was unfathomable. Just after entering the door, Aunt Shu threw herself onto Mother's coffin, wailing, "Xiaotao, oh, your life was truly so hard." Father's face turned cold, and I bowed to Aunt Shu. "Thank you for coming to visit. Aunt Shu, please move to the backyard for the banquet." Aunt Shu. Aunt Shu took the opportunity to take my hand and stroke my face. "Look at you. My Ayan has suffered. You've lost a whole layer of weight." Auntie is truly heartbroken. She was like a completely different person from before. I looked toward father with a confused gaze, and father shook his head with a bitter smile. In the days that followed, Shu Jingwen came to the door every single day. Father was extremely annoyed and shut the door on him several times. On this day, the weather was fine and sunny. Bianxi had just delivered a letter from Xi'an. The letter stated that he had missed the deadline to return to the capital, and had been confined by his older brother. He told me not to worry as he had already asked his brother to come and propose marriage. I was rejoicing in my heart. I had just put the letter away when the steward came to report that third young Master Shu had brought Aunt Shu to the door. Since the Shu family held an official post after all, father had no choice but to see them. As I stepped into the front hall, it felt as if I had returned to the day the engagement was broken off. It was this exact scene. Only now the tables have turned, and the Shu family has come to propose marriage. Although my Song family are merchants, my daughter will not become a concubine. Even if she never marries in this life, I absolutely will not let her become a concubine. I held my tea, didn't say a word, and just sipped it on my own. Seeing that I hadn't spoken for a long time, Aunt Shu thought there was still a chance to turn things around. So she smiled ingratiatingly at father. How could she be a concubine? I watched a Yan grow up, and I'm like sisters with Xiaotao. How could I let her be a concubine? She is an equal wife. I finally opened my mouth. Where is Shang Yining? Aunt Shu thought I was relenting, so she let out a huge sigh of relief. She picked up her tea, took a sip, and only then spoke. Yining is frail. After you marry in, you'll have to call the shots on everything in the manor. Although you're an equal wife, you'll be in charge of the household affairs, so you'll definitely have the upper hand over her. She agrees too. Even if she agrees, would the Earl's mansion agree? How would she dare object in the household? Aunt still has the final say. Looking at my father's exasperated face, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. He still treated me like the girl from 2 years ago who knew nothing of the world. I turned my head to look at Shu Jingwen. What about the third young master? Shu Jingwen lit up with joy. Sister Ayan and I grew up together. If I could marry you, I would naturally be incredibly happy. I chuckled. Let me guess. 2 years ago, my humble family background offered no help to the third young master. On the day you broke the engagement, you said you saw me as a biological sister. You chose my coming-of-age day to break the engagement, and I even agreed to call off the wedding. If I hadn't agreed, how could you have climbed your way into the Count's estate? After climbing into the Count's estate, you found the Shang family was just a hollow shell, long unable to provide a decent dowry. The third young master has just entered officialdom and needs to spend silver in many places. Shang Yining's dowry has long since failed to fill your family's deficit. But now that my family has become imperial merchants with deep pockets, the Shu family wants a slice of the pie. I'm the Song family's only daughter. My dowry is sure to be rich, so now you turn back and say you're truly delighted. My father's face lit up with joy, but then he heard me speak up again. During the festival the year before last, you threatened me with my father's life, forcing me to leave the capital. Shang Yining hired killers outside the city to murder me. I don't believe you didn't know about it. I barely escaped with my life now. What face does your Shu family have to come here and ask for my hand in marriage? Father was furious upon hearing this. He summoned the butler to beat the Shu mother and son out of the house. The Shu mother and son fled in a wretched state. Father got angrier the more he thought about it. I comforted him for a long time, but according to the attendants by his side, he was still so angry he didn't close his eyes all night. The next day, early in the morning, Chungsing woke me up with her yelling, Miss, it is bad. Something happened to the master." It startled me wide awake, and asking Chungsing got me nowhere. She only said the steward by his side sent her to fetch me. I hurriedly boarded the carriage, but it arrived at the Shu family's gate, where I saw the entrance surrounded by layers upon layers of commoners. Pushing through the crowd, I saw the Shu family's main door shut tight, and my father sitting on the steps at the entrance, his face flushed red and looking incredibly agitated. "You tell me, this Shu family let their daughter-in-law hire a hitman, and now they want to seize my Song family's heirless estate." I hurriedly stepped forward to help Father up. "Father, let's go." Father shook off my hand, pointing at the Shu family's gate and shouting, "I'm not leaving. The Shu family is utterly inhumane. They forced my daughter to break off her engagement on her coming-of-age ceremony, and now they want to marry her again. They're disgusting me." And the Marquis of Zhongyi's mansion, a prestigious family in the capital, treats human life like dirt, letting their daughter commit murder. They don't even feel ashamed. So why should I? Let me tell you, Shu Cheng, even if I lose all my wealth, I will take this to the capital prefecture and fight your Shu family, the Marquis of Zhongyi's mansion, to the death. When the eunuch serving by his side told His Majesty about this, it made His Majesty laugh out loud, and he went out immediately to see Prince Yen, who was locked up in Prince Yen's manor. Your future father-in-law really isn't one to be messed with. Count Zhongyi seeks revenge for the slightest grievance. I simply must go see this spectacle for myself. Zhao Ziyan rolled his eyes at the one seated above, buried his head, and went back to painting on his own hurry-up imperial brother. If I lose my princess consort, I'll have to go into the palace and have a chat with imperial sister-in-law about the things buried under the third tree to the back right of the Hall of Diligent Governance. I imagine sister-in-law would be absolutely delighted. Feifei Nanggong Yao. "You dare. If I can't keep my private stash safe, I guarantee your princess consort won't be safe either. Feifei Count Zhongyi has done everything these years, but the trouble is, there is no evidence. He is also an old minister promoted by Father Emperor, so he can't be touched. Aren't you worried about your princess consort? I've sent people to watch him. Count Zhongyi is petty and definitely won't let the Song family off. Does an imperial brother want evidence? Go take a look and I guarantee there will be evidence." Fei, the elder brother of the Zhao family, came to visit on the third day, bringing 2 attendants carrying several boxes of expensive gifts. Hearing that it was the Zhao brother who saved me, we hurriedly welcomed him in and set the table with good food and drink. After 3 rounds of wine, the Zhao brother stated his purpose. "I came this time for my good, for nothing younger brother. He has admired Miss Song for a long time. If he can marry such a virtuous wife, he will surely cherish her like a treasure in the palm of his hand, and never let her suffer the slightest grievance." Father was already slightly tipsy. He scrutinized the Zhao brother for a long time, then shook his head. "My good nephew, after the incident with the Shu family, I no longer plan to let my daughter marry. I have just this one daughter. She lost her mother when she was small, and I played both father and mother, raising her in the palm of my hand. I raised her to be a bit willful, and she really can't handle those dirty schemes in the household. Now that I've completely offended the Shu family and the house of Count Zhongyi, and they want my daughter's life, I'll fight them even if it costs me my old life. If the capital prefecture won't help, I'll take my entire family fortune and have that eunuch in the palace gift it to His Majesty. They say our emperor loves money as much as his life, so he'll surely get justice for me. Even if I'm left with nothing, I have to stand up for my daughter. At a critical moment like this, it is best not to drag your family into this mess." The attendant beside the Zhao family's eldest brother gasped and shouted in a shrill voice, "Impudent!" The Zhao family's eldest brother chuckled and raised his hand to stop the attendant. "Uncle Song, how do you know my family can't protect you?" "My dear nephew, let me tell you, judging by your attire, your family is definitely either wealthy or noble. But I've been in Shangjing for many years, and among the prominent families in Shangjing, there is no surname Zhao. I reckon your family must be merchants too. Scholars, farmers, artisans, merchants. We merchants are of lowly status. In a moment, the steward will prepare a generous gift to thank you, my dear brother, for saving my life. Because of this, our two families absolutely must not associate any further. I really don't want to bring you harm." As soon as the words fell, a man dressed as a warrior walked into the front hall, hauling a man in night gear. He tossed the man onto the ground, bowed his head and said, "Master, I caught an assassin on the Song family roof. I've already interrogated him. He says he was sent by Count Zhongyi's manor to assassinate Master Song." Hearing this, father got angry again. Fueled by the alcohol, he jumped up, wanting to go to Count Zhongyi's manor to settle the score. Hearing this, Brother Zhao smiled and said to father, "Uncle Song, don't worry, since they've delivered themselves to our doorstep, I'll let you see if my family can protect your daughter." After saying this, he said to the person beside him, "Go invite Count Zhongyi to the Song manor for a talk." "Yes, come, Uncle Song, let's drink." "Ha ha, worthy nephew. Don't talk big. If you can invite Count Zhongyi here, I, Song Qi, will write my name backwards. Come, drink." 17 Fei, in less than an hour, Count Zhongyi trotted into the Song family's home, and the Zhao brother laughed heartily. "From now on, I will call you Uncle Qi. Also, I haven't told you, Uncle, but my younger brother is cautious and uses a pseudonym outside. His surname is Nanggong, his given name is Yao, and his courtesy name is Xian." Father had drunk a bit too much and just felt the surname Nanggong sounded too familiar, making the steward beside him anxious enough to keep tugging at his sleeve. Count Zhongyi had just reached the front hall when he dropped to his knees with a thud. "This humble subject pays respects to your majesty." Father was so startled he shot to his feet. He remembered now, Nanggong is the royal surname. Swaying unsteadily, he knelt down with the butler's support. "When I arrived at the front hall as ordered, this was the scene I saw. I moved to kneel beside father, but Brother Zhao, no." The attendant beside His Majesty hurriedly helped me and father up. Father leaned against the butler and whispered in my ear, "Daughter, we're done for." I looked at him in confusion, and father explained, "Just implied in every word that His Majesty is here to sponge off us." The butler added from the side, "That is not all. You even called His Majesty virtuous nephew, and you also said he was putting on airs." My heart went cold. "Is there more?" Father looked at me and nodded. "I also said that His Majesty loves money like his life, and I tried to use my entire family fortune to bribe him to give me justice." I simply closed my eyes. At this moment, His Majesty opened his mouth and said to Count Zhongyi, "I heard, you want to assassinate me?" Earl Zhongyi hurriedly cried out in justice. "I wouldn't dare. I am utterly loyal to your majesty." "Oh, the assassin you sent said that not a single person from the Song family is to walk out alive tonight. It just so happens that I am a guest at the Song family tonight, so wouldn't I have to be carried out lying down too?" Count Zhongyi just kept crying in justice. "I am wrongly accused. Your Majesty, I am wrongly accused. I didn't send any assassins." "Oh, then, let's just forget about it." My father and I stared wide-eyed. Was he letting it go just like that? His Majesty changed the subject and said, "I heard your daughter hired a killer to murder the young miss of the Song family. Is this also fake?" Then I'll have to investigate this thoroughly. The Count of Zhongyi took one look and realized His Majesty was determined to make him admit to at least one thing. Compared to the lives of the Count of Zhongyi's entire family of 213, sacrificing one legitimate daughter wasn't a loss. Your Majesty, this humble subject only learned of this matter the day before yesterday when Master Song made a scene. I have already sent someone to reprimand my daughter. Fortunately, Miss Song is unharmed. Otherwise, this humble subject could not atone for his guilt even with 100 deaths. In that case, you admit to it. My daughter acted willfully and recklessly, but fortunately no great disaster was caused. Oh right, forgot to tell you. The Song family miss just nodded to the marriage, so now she is Princess Xian. Eunuch Liu passed the decree to all the families. Count Zhongyi's manner showed contempt for the royal family, indulging their daughter in plotting against Princess Xian. So the whole family is exiled to Lingnan, not to return to the capital without a summons. Shang Yining is ordered to commit suicide. The Xu family knew but did not report it, fostering a threat and viewed as accomplices. So the Xu father and son are stripped of their posts, sent back to their place of origin, and forbidden from entering the capital for all eternity. Father was startled. Feiyu nodded and agreed to the marriage. Fei closed my eyes. Father, I was just teleported here. I've been by your side the whole time. As His Majesty's personal guards dragged Count Zhongyi away, he kept yelling that he was wrongly accused. His Majesty turned around, pulled Father over, and sat down. Uncle Song, I've found this Count Zhongyi an eyesore for a long time. Relying on his status as a veteran official of the previous reign to amass wealth, and putting anyone in court who slightly disagreed with him to death. I was suffering from never getting a handle on him. Thank you, Uncle Song, for removing this tumor for me. Come, let's keep drinking. How could Father dare? He knelt there, unwilling to get up. You won't drink. I remember, I think I just heard something about loving something like one's life. Father immediately stood up, smiling apologetically. Your Majesty, you heard wrong. Come, drink. The next day, His Majesty issued a decree. In consideration of my mother's merits, he bestowed the title of Duke upon my family, posthumously conferred a title of honor upon my mother, granted me the title of County Princess, and betrothed me to Prince Xian as his principal consort, to be wed on the 5th day of the 9th month. Although we knew it wasn't hereditary, and my dad had no son to inherit it, at least our status was raised. Zhao Zian no. Nangang Yao came personally to proclaim the decree. The summer heat was intense, and the cicadas on the willow trees by the lotus pond were chirping non-stop. Your Highness Prince Xian is truly majestic. Zhao Zian coaxed me softly. I was really wrong. I didn't mean to hide it from you. Xian really is my courtesy name, and Zhao is an alias. Who in the world doesn't know that Nanggong is the royal surname? How could I dare use it while traveling outside? It is useless to say anything now. You just lied to me. Okay, I was really wrong. I hope Princess Consort Xian will be magnanimous and not get angry. I gave him a light punch, and he took the chance to pull me into his arms. It was a good while before I finally spoke. Did you request the title of honor for my mother? It was because my royal brother saw that I truly adore you and wanted to raise your family's status. He had decided on a count's estate, but I told him about your mother's past at the frontier. He sent someone to inquire, and then decided on his own to make you a county mistress and grant your mother a title. His Majesty is actually a pretty good person, unlike what my father said about him only loving money. Don't talk nonsense about me behind my back. Father poked his head out from the nearby bushes and said angrily. Nanggong Yao and I looked at each other and smiled. Joy at first sight, heart still fluttering after a long time together.